For over 20 years, the Honda Pilot has been the go-to vehicle for families looking for a three-row vehicle. And in 2023, the fourth generation was launched. This 2025 Honda Pilot TrailSport hasn't really changed a whole lot from that 23, but the price has gone up by about $2,000, but it is still relatively competitive in this segment. Today we're going to be going over this mid-size three-row crossover to see if the TrailSport might be the trim for you and if the Pilot is the family SUV for your needs. Before we dive into the 2025 Honda Pilot TrailSport, I want to invite you to check out our all-new merch store. We've got a number of different shirts available, including this beautiful WTF is a mile shirt. Much like the Formula One Logan Sargent WTF is a kilometer memes, we decided to make one that's a little bit more Canadianized. We have a number of other shirts available as well, including our Brave Little Toaster, our PRN graphic logos, S-Class Evolution, as well as our older E38 front-end design and W221 S-Class front-end design. You can check out all the different items that we have for sale on our store. All of the proceeds help us create more content here on Test Drive. So let's talk a little bit about what the TrailSport has to offer. It is more of an off-road trim, according to Honda. We've featured a number of other TrailSport models so far, and there will be more as time goes on. It has an off-road tuned suspension. You get 25 millimeters of added ground clearance with this. Also, Honda says they have robust steel skid plates to protect the underbody of the vehicle. There's also expanded all-wheel drive capabilities, and these come with all-terrain tires which haven't been equipped on a Pilot before with the unique 18-inch alloy rims. Under the hood, we find Honda's 3.5-liter V6 engine. It is an updated version over the previous generation Pilot. Currently, it's only available on this, as well as the upcoming 2026 Passport. Has 285 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, and uses a 10-speed automatic transmission. Tow rating on this vehicle is 5,000 pounds, and this is the only engine available. A lot of the competition is starting to add either hybrids, mild hybrids, or even plug-in hybrids, but Honda is still going with a naturally aspirated V6. So this fourth generation Honda Pilot has gotten bigger. It's designed now to compete with something like the Toyota Grand Highlander or even the Mazda CX-90. Ours is priced at just around $63,000 Canadian, or about $51,000 in the States. Much better deal if you're south of the border. But when you compare it to something like the Grand Highlander, you're getting a limited all-wheel drive for about the same price, also 7-passenger vehicle. But you get a couple extra goodies like 360-degree cameras, an 11-speaker JBL audio system, and a larger infotainment system, and costs about $3,000 less. That one's about $60,000 Canadian. The Limited does not have the hybrid as an option. The other trims do, so comparable in terms of overall fuel efficiency. But we have noticed that over the last year with the Honda vehicles that we feature, they always are a little bit more expensive over the absolute direct competitor like Toyota. So is it worth it? We'll talk about that when we take it on the road test. The Honda Pilot comes with a number of standard safety features, and I mean standard across the board. So whether you're going with the base model or fully loaded, it all has it. That includes forward collision warning, collision mitigation braking, lane departure warning, road departure mitigation, rear seat reminder, active cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot detection, rear cross traffic alert, traffic sign recognition, and there are other safety features as well. So all of that comes standard now. We're starting to see that quite a bit across the board in the mainstream consumer segments. A lot of brands are now offering their safety features standard across the board, which makes it better for consumers. You have a safer vehicle, and we've tested all of this stuff. We always keep all of these safety features on when we're testing all of the vehicles here on Test Drive, and we've never had any major issues with them. They've always worked, and they do make us feel a little bit safer on the road. So if there's ever a problem, we always let you know with it. But speaking of the back seats here, the second row, I've got plenty of room. There is adjustment. I can slide the seat forward and back, as well as recline it. There are buttons to be able to easily eject the seat forward to make it a little bit easier to get into that third row. And how is the third row, you say? Well, you can see for yourself how I'm able to fit back there. Obviously not ideal for a big person like myself, but adults will fit in the third row of this vehicle should you need it. But as always, we do recommend putting these smaller passengers in the third row. We have a number of features found in the second row: heated outboard seats, as well as climate control. It is a tri-zone climate setup. We also have sunshades on the side, and the panoramic sunroof lets in quite a bit of light. Third row does have a couple cup holders and a little air vent on each side, so it is a little bit more comfortable back there if you're sitting in the third row. It's important to note that if you want this 7-passenger configuration with the captain's chairs in the second row, it's only available on this TrailSport. Now, I mentioned outside that we had driven some of the other TrailSport models, including the Passport. The interior here feels a little bit like that. We've got the orange stitching as well as the leatherette seating. It's pretty comfortable overall. We have a 7-inch cluster display. It's a little bit smaller. If you go with the higher end trims, it does get upgraded to a 10.2-inch display, but I think it's functional enough. Seats up front are heated with heated steering wheel. We also have a 10-way power adjustable driver seat with memory function. The infotainment screen, a little bit small, 9 inches. That is the biggest this gets. And it also has wired and wireless Apple CarPlay, although I've had non-stop problems with it. It just stops connecting to my phone and it won't reconnect. I've had to delete the phone a couple times and resync it, and I'm still having constant problems with it. I'm not sure what the issue is. We haven't had that problem before with other Honda vehicles, but it just will not stay consistently connected to my phone. We only have a backup camera with this vehicle, and considering how big it is, it would have been nice to see 360 cameras like available on the Toyota Grand Highlander for a little bit less than this. But aside from that, tri-zone automatic climate control, a wireless phone charger, which works well enough. The big panoramic sunroof is nice, and we also have home links. There are a lot of features that you get on this vehicle. It's not completely loaded up to the top, but I think it's functional enough for people who are looking for a large family vehicle, and they do want the known reliability that comes with Honda, as well as the comfort too, because you do get quite a bit of space. So now let's take this vehicle on the road, talk about a little bit of the fuel efficiency, as well as how I found this vehicle to drive, handle, and ride over the week that I've had it. So let's hit the road now on our test drive. All right, we're behind the wheel now of the 2025 Honda Pilot TrailSport. Gloomy day today, but that doesn't affect our fuel economy. We completed our 100-kilometer test loop in Econ mode in 10 liters per 100 kilometers. It's not bad for a naturally aspirated engine. Would have been better, obviously, with a hybrid, and that's where a company like Toyota excels. That's where a company like Mazda with their mild hybrid and their plug-in hybrids, they're starting to roll out regular hybrids as well. So there's some good options in the segment. Would be nice for Honda to start exploring some alternatives, just because we appreciate having the fuel efficiency of a hybrid vehicle. But for the most part, this works, and I think that's why the Pilot has always been a popular seller for people. It's a straightforward engine. The 10-speed automatic transmission, people have had issues with it, but for the most part, it seems to be pretty solid overall. And again, the fuel efficiency is kind of what I expected from a larger 3-row crossover such as this. So let's talk about the ride, drive, and handling. It's been pretty much exactly what I would expect, which is pretty compliant. It's soft and smooth, even with the off-road orientated setup here. It's really just it's like the stabilizers and the springs are just like a little bit different on this compared to the other trims available for the Pilot. So it's not like a hardcore off-roader like the Toyota 4Runner that we just featured. Like that's like an off-roader. It's not like a Wrangler. It's not like a Bronco, right? This is, if you're going to be doing some light trails, maybe you've got unimproved roads going to your cottage, things like that. I don't see anybody taking this up to Moab and doing rock climbing, right? That's not what this is for. It's more for people who do some outdoor stuff, light trails, things like that. Maybe it gets a little muddy, so you want to have something that's a little bit more rugged. That's what the TrailSport is for, and that's fine. So it's good that it's comfortable, because you want to make sure that when you're on the road, it's comfortable. And you're putting 7 people in here, it's definitely got to be comfortable, and that's really what it is. So nice and smooth. I have no complaints about it. Engine itself has enough power. It's really just been the 3 of us driving around all week. I haven't had any big items, luggage, things like that, so I haven't had to stress the engine too much in order to get things going. But yeah, it works out well enough. So let's talk a little bit about the interior, because you're going to be spending most of your time in it. As I mentioned, the tech features are a little lacking, and I'd say that's where the Honda is going to suffer compared to the competition. It is a very basic infotainment system. Its backup camera quality is okay, it's passable, so nothing stellar from that. And then the issues that I've had with Apple CarPlay, it's just frustrating. There's really no reason for it, whether it's on the charger or not. It's not like my phone is overheating. It stops connecting after any period of time. There's no real rhyme or reason for it. So you want to make sure things work, and since there's no built-in navigation, and a lot of people now do rely on their phones to be able to work, it's a bit of a pain. So you might want to plug your phone in. At least the option is there. You have both wired and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so that's good. But for what I usually do during the week, I don't have my cable with me. It's in my go bag, so You know, I'm gonna have to use that when I drop this vehicle off, but you know, day-to-day driving, like I'm not gonna plug the phone in just to go 5 minutes to drop my kid off at school, so it'd be nice for this to actually work. But yeah, aside from that though, I mean, it is a handsome looking vehicle. It's a little rugged with the TrailSport, and like I said, everything else pretty much works for it. Seats are pretty comfortable. I've had no complaints about it. You saw me getting into the third row. I mean, it's doable. It's not as comfortable for me, but actually the headroom is surprisingly good in the third row. So if you're a normal sized person, you should be fine. Your legs will be okay. Plus the seats in the second row do adjust quite a bit, so you can move them out of the way. So if you're looking for a 3-row comfortable family cruiser, something that, you know, is pretty inoffensive, more or less blends in, then that's fine. You know, not everything has to stand out. You don't have to be flashy. So something like the Honda Pilot works out well in that case. You know, in this color, it's kind of muted. I like it, especially on a gloomy day like today. So it's a little unique. You know, you don't see too many blue grays like this, so I like it. And yeah, overall, I mean, the TrailSport does offer some slightly unique features over the other Pilots in the lineup. So it depends on what you want. I mean, if you need the 7 passengers, if you're like me, you know, you only have one kid, you really don't need a third seat in the second row, and then you don't need the third row open all the time, but you want to have it, then this is the trim to go with. I just think a couple extra features could have been added. I mean, really, it's 360 cameras. I think 360 cameras are the only thing that this trim is missing for the price. Everything else I can kind of justify. So if it were for that, and then maybe like a slightly bigger infotainment, it doesn't need to be a tablet that like takes up the whole thing. You don't need to replace any of the buttons, but just like a little bit bigger, right? And a little bit better resolution, just to make you feel like, you know, you're spending your 63 grand in a good way. But aside from that, I've enjoyed my time with the Honda Pilot. I can't believe it's the first time I'm driving one on the show. That's just to show how many vehicles are on the market and how busy we ultimately are on this show. So as always, if you have any questions about the 2025 Honda Pilot TrailSport, please let us know in the comments below. We do get back to everybody, whether it's a question about how the vehicle drives or handles or anything like that, how it compares to other things. Let us know. We'll get back to you as quickly as we can. If you have any suggestions about what we should be doing on the show, we also would like to hear from you. So don't be shy, get into those comments, let us know what you think. And we also invite you to subscribe to the channel as well. It's an easy way to help support us. All you got to do, hit the button. You can also hit the notifications as well, so you can be informed immediately when something new comes out, because we do get 3 videos every single week between myself, Victor, and James. We're doing a lot here on Test Drive, and we want you to be a part of it. So we appreciate you watching, and until next time, take care.